I bought a fourplex in 2015, but I put 5% down.
Okay.
So I was able to live in one of the units, renovate the others, and live there for free and make money.
Yeah.
With only 5% down. Back then, I was only 15 grand. And
Right.
I mean, that was a lot of money for me back then, but it's better than 20% down, which would have been 100 grand. So
That's huge.
yeah, that was a successful venture on that little fourplex. Sold it in 2019, tripled my money, and like, I love real estate.
And I think I bumped into, was that when we bumped into each other years ago?
Correct.
Yeah, you had just bought it.
Yeah.
I think that was the one, right? On
Rose Lane,
Yeah, I remember now.
It was I found it off market. I created a list of property owners. I just started calling these people, and finally somebody said they would sell to me.
Is that a skill you picked up working at Marcus?
That's a skill I picked up at Marcus, learning how to find property owners, their contact info, all that stuff. I put it in a spreadsheet because I'm old school. I didn't have a CRM database, but it worked for me. And I would send out mailers too, like I'm sure a lot of the audience that listens to this podcast does. And back then, it wasn't like wholesaling wasn't huge back then, so there wasn't as many people doing that in 2015 that I knew of. So to me, I was the first one to do it, like that around me from all the people I knew. And I got a really good deal on that property. I was afraid, man, like a 4-unit complex, even though I had all this experience with underwriting and real estate at this high level, but actually applying that knowledge is something totally different, and fear is always was there for me. And like I had to overcome that fear and just trust my business plan and that it would work out. And
what's
I was
that?
able to do that.
That's so, sometimes we could underwrite a deal. Numbers just make sense. You're like, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. But you still get nervous sometimes. Like, like what is that? Like, I knew you'd say it's fair, but like,
it's just fear of not knowing. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, the whole thing with underwriting and creating a business plan, when I find a value add deal, right? So a value add deal is an older building or even a house if you're doing a fix and flip. You go in there, you renovate the property, and you figure out if you're going to sell the house, what you think you can sell it for. In apartments, I want to hold this. So what do I think? If I do all these things, all the upgrades to this property, what rents can I get? And how can I operate this property better than the previous owner? And, it's called forced appreciation. So I'm raising rents and lowering expenses if I can, which is kind of hard on a fourplex because there's not much you can do. But like on larger buildings, you can figure out where expenses are too high. And so I was just the fear of like, can I do this? Like that's just, I think that's an ingrained thing in people in general. Like if you haven't done something, then there's going to be some fear. It's healthy fear as long as that fear doesn't hold you back, which it did for, years. And then in 2015, I just pulled the trigger. I felt comfortable enough to do it.